Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Wednesday, November 29th. It's day 54. As I was praying this morning, I was thinking about what would be the most constructive to share with you. And honestly, I was feeling quite overwhelmed. Overwhelmed because I sometimes feel like I don't know what to do. And the situation in Israel, in Gaza, and the occupied Palestinian territories, the whole situation can feel so overwhelming. And as I prayed, I felt even more overwhelmed. I felt struck that if I feel this way, how might you feel? I do this as a full-time job. I'm educated in this area. I'm equipped from a worldly perspective. Many people might consider me an expert at this. And so, how might people who aren't working in the Middle East full time, how might people who don't know the history feel? And so perhaps you, like me, might be feeling overwhelmed, not sure where to start, wondering if anything that we're doing is making a difference. And so I just wanted to start out today by saying I feel that way too. And I wanted to acknowledge that. But I do also know a few things. I know and I trust and I believe that God is good, that throughout the scriptures we're promised that the light will shine in the midst of the darkness, and the darkness will not overwhelm it. We read about this in the first chapter of the Gospel of John, where it's talking about Jesus, and it says, "In him was life, and that the life was the light of mankind," or humankind. And then it says, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it." And that's God's promise to us, that light still exists in the world. It doesn't mean that evil things don't happen. It doesn't mean that everything will be redeemed on this side of heaven. We certainly know that reality. Nothing will make right the thousands of deaths of children and people in Gaza, not on this side of heaven. Nothing will make right the people who lost their lives and were killed brutally on October 7th. That will not be redeemed on this side of heaven. Those are tragedies that we will grieve and lament, but they also don't have to define the future. Darkness does not have to reign the day. Instead, might we pursue light and the light of the world? And might we hold on to the light of the universe and pursue peace and work toward justice? And so, with that, I hope that it encourages us that we can't give up, that we have to act, we have to take action, we have to be engaged, and we can't give up hope. Psalm 112 also says, "Light shines in the darkness for the godly, for they are generous, compassionate, and righteous." And that's my prayer for us today, that we would aspire to be that way: generous, compassionate, righteous. I say often, despair is the luxury of the privileged. And from an earthly perspective, in this moment, in so many ways, it feels like there's no hope. But might we not despair, but rather continue to move forward? And my first book, which was a long time ago, it's called Social Justice Handbook, but I love the subtitle of it. It's called Small Steps for a Better World. And so I thought I would take a minute to go through some steps that I'm taking each and every day, but steps that we can take individually or together. Some of the commitments I've made every day or every few days is every day I pray for the people of Gaza, for the people of Israel, for the people of Palestine. And I make a point for sometimes the people I'm the most frustrated with is who I feel like I should pray for the most. And sometimes it's more about my heart being changed. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes there is evil that needs to be prayed against. But I think prayer is very powerful. I was on a plane today, so I couldn't join our Wednesday prayer time, but I heard it was deeply meaningful. I also make a point to send notes to people in Gaza. There's a family that I'm in touch with there, or people who I know are in the region, either in Bethlehem or in Israel, or to check in. I send them prayers. They often are such an encouragement to me. One of the ways I'm committed to engaging right now, to seeking to stand up against violence, is just by doing these daily updates. It's one of the things I feel like I can do every day. And so right now I'm in Chicago. I'm in a I'm in an airport lounge, which is an incredible privilege, and I happen to be in a room that's empty in a very, very busy lounge. But and I want to give updates wherever I am. I want to be attentive to this moment, and I want to engage. And I'll give some updates specifically about what's happening in terms of the ceasefire or the pause that's happening right now too. I'm also taking actions, and we at Churches for Middle East Peace are engaged with the Biden administration. We are following the example of the persistent widow, and excuse the expression, but we are being a complete pain in their ass. We're writing daily emails, and we just had another statement that's coming out. It's out today. It's on our website. It'll be on our bulletin this Friday. 68 bishops and global leaders signed a call for a ceasefire. Please read that, share that, pass that along. And I hope that you'll join us. Advent is right around the corner. Every day for the entire month of Advent, we're going to call our members of Congress calling for a ceasefire. So I did want to take just a quick minute and tell you a few things that are happening. This is supposed to last day of this pause. An Arab diplomat did report that they are expecting another additional days. So we hope that that will be extended because the ceasefire is supposed to end for today, or the temporary pause is supposed to end for today. And so we hope that that is extended with the release of more Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners. Israel's military said today that there was a claim by Hamas that one of the youngest hostages held in Gaza, a 10-month-old named Kafir Babas, had been killed along with his 4-year-old brother, Ariel Babas, and their mother, Shiri. Hamas has said that these 3 hostages, which are very prominent in Israel in terms of being faces of the crisis, that they had been killed in an Israeli bombardment. And so Israel said they're researching that. We also know that there was a raid by the Israeli Defense Forces on the Jenin refugee camp in the West Bank. 2 senior militants, according to the IDF, had been killed. There's a graphic video that's been disseminated on social media showing a group of boys being shot at on a side street in Jenin related to that raid. And the Palestinian Health Ministry said 2 children were killed, including an 8-year-old boy. The U.S. also has said that they are urging any military assault to not extend to southern Gaza, so that they're being consistent in that messaging, and they're being clear that Israel should do all that they can to limit civilian suffering. But President Biden is still kind of sticking to his guns and saying that Israel has the right to self-defense. So those are some updates in terms of the big picture. I did want to also let you know we have been hosting the last couple of days 3 Christian leaders from Bethlehem in Washington, D.C. So I'm in Chicago now, but yesterday I spent the day in D.C. We had a meeting with the White House. They've been having lots of meetings on Capitol Hill. They've been running all over Capitol Hill today, calling for a ceasefire, talking about the way Christians in Bethlehem are viewing the situation, and the way that Christmas celebrations are being set aside to stand in solidarity with the people of Gaza. And so last night's day ended with a prayer service, and it was really meaningful to have so many people come together. The church that we met at on Capitol Hill was full. And it was a group of people standing in solidarity, acknowledging that violence is not the answer, but that together we have to pursue peace, which was really powerful. And I'll close just with extending an invite. If you are looking for a trip to Washington, D.C., it is a lovely place to be during the Christmas season. And we're having a service on Monday evening, December 11th at 6 p.m. At the New York Avenue Presbyterian Church, focusing on calling for a ceasefire Christmas service in solidarity with Christians in the Middle East. Afterwards, we'll have a prayer and protest walk to the White House, and I would invite you to join us for that. So thank you for all you're doing. I'm really grateful to be in solidarity, calling for peace together.